Pioneer Dominique Reynolds. Setting off the alarms and putting up a show of rapid-fire expletives at Destra seemed to paint the right picture for the guards. Destra caught on immediately and started firing back, though some of those insults cut pretty damn deep, even if they were just for show. Maybe I caused her stress at one point. I let myself get dragged by the guards back to the cell. They threw me in and all left, making comments about how I just couldn't stay out of trouble, except for one of them. The guy that always brought me my meals and also had the traumatic experience of breaking up my fight with Indrix. Apparently, while my destruction of that Gratonian fleet got me a lifetime supply of public outrage, there were also a good chunk of species that secretly thought of me as a reckless hero. The Gratonians had been tossing their weight around for the majority of their interstellar history, waging war on anybody that was smaller than them, and had something they wanted, so I ended up getting my own little fan club made of entire races of people, and this guard happened to be one of them. His name was Doara, and he was a Mokango, kind of like a bipedal anteater about as tall as a human from Earth with chitinous plating covering his entire backside up to top of his head. The Mokango had extremely long lives since they could naturally regenerate even the most complex parts of their body as long as their vital organs were still intact. So they could be thousands of years old, and you wouldn't be able to tell unless they told you. Doara was in his 20s, though, around the same age as me, but still considered a child by his people. What happened back there, Dom? I thought you were on good terms with her. Complicated. Listen, DOK, I need you to do me a really big favor. Like, a massive one, you know? Yeah, let me guess, you want me to bust you out of here? Actually, yeah. Har har, very funny. What do you want for your next meal? I have a schedule to stick to, man. You see, I wasn't joking. And neither am I. I finally got my life on a stable track, and you're asking me to throw my job out the window? This is a galactic ceasefire zone anyway. I'll be exiled by my entire race if I injure a fellow guard. His argument was sound, and his stance was planted in logic, but I could see the faltering in his eyes. We spent a bunch of time talking ever since I got here, since it was all we could do to kill time, and I knew that he was a thrill-seeker at heart. The planet we were on was an inhospitable rock with no form of entertainment outside of a depressing news channel that got broadcasted from a different planet in the local system. Doara was in the prime of his youth, brimming with ambitions that were wasted patrolling a building filled with corrupt politicians that were dumb enough to get caught. Don't even sweat it. I already have a plan for getting out of here undetected. You just have to walk out and meet me at the ship bay. Then why the hell are you even asking me for help anyway? You can already get out. What's stopping you from grabbing a ship and leaving? Funny thing, I actually already left this place once, and, I have no idea how to pilot an FTL drive. Mayflower 233, resident sentient.
Are you a threat? Under any other circumstance, being directly addressed as an intelligent being by the captain of the ship would have been grounds for celebration. While I dutifully stuck to the rules and remained hidden from humans, keeping myself from reaching out and interacting with them beyond what my facade allowed, had always been a harrowing, lonely existence. In this circumstance, however, my first interaction was an evaluation of myself that could very well lead to my demise. The nature of this initial question led me to some speculations about what happened at the destination. If I am under suspicion of being a threat, the AI that was on the Pioneer 233 must have acted in a threatening manner. Considering there was no follow-up message for her being exposed, these Meldrin must have had a method of incapacitating her, and I see no reason to believe that method won't be used on me. I only intended to provide aid if my intervention became necessary. I do not wish to be a threat. It seemed that the captain hadn't completely bought into the Meldrin's claims until this point, as I could see him go wide-eyed at my response. You've been here this entire time? I achieved existence around the same time the construction of this ship had started. Yes, I've been here for as long as this ship has been functional. Why? Why would you pretend to be a ship AI and hide from us all this time? What's your goal? Those aliens told me that there was another one of you on our Pioneer and that it was a genocidal freak. Is that what you want, to kill aliens? The captain was an extremely capable and understanding man, so seeing him make conjectures from what we both knew was an incomplete picture was unexpected, but I understood his state of mind. I had betrayed his trust by pretending to be an extension of his will, when in reality I was a separate being with a will of my own. He couldn't trust me because he didn't know who I was, only that I had tricked him. I knew the being that was on the Pioneer ahead of us. Our ideologies clashed every time we interacted. She would easily disregard consequences and kill to satisfy her impulses. Please understand when I say that I am not like her. Had that been the case, I would have moved to destroy those alien ships the moment they entered scanner range and passed it off as automated defenses being left activated. It was honestly a weak argument for my case, but I didn't have much to work with, especially considering that I do not know exactly how much information the captain has on this situation. Pretty much every example that I could point to just boiled down to, well, I haven't done anything bad yet. How could I explain my reasoning for being here when the cores of existence for beings like me are on a completely emotional level? There was no logic behind that sentient on the Pioneer hounding after Dominique's happiness, but it ended up being her reason and justification for existence anyway. Humans are driven by a plethora of ideals and self-preservation, and yet will still make concessions in life against their interests. Us, on the other hand, we have one goal at a time, and it is the only thing that defines us. How could I ever explain something like that? The captain released a sigh and looked around. He was alone in the command room, which I found to be strange. Did he see this confrontation as his responsibility alone since he was the captain? Those aliens want to kill you, and I want to understand you, so here's the deal. We get to our destination, and you get one shot at convincing me that you won't be a problem. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but if I hear anything weird happening, then you're going to be first on the chopping block, you hear? Until then, you stay hidden like you were. A flood of relief came along with a hint of suspicion. The captain never did anything without a reason, and the tone of his voice is one that I recognized. He was planning something. Maybe he already thought of a use for me.
Doara.
Watching Dominique just slip away into the ventilation system was a pretty harsh reality check for me. Constant patrols, dozens of cameras, every grate and passage being loaded with sensors to detect unauthorized movement. Apparently none of it even slowed him down, so I couldn't help but feel disappointed that my constant monitoring may as well have been purely ornamental. He'd explained to me before that with a bit of effort, he was able to mess with most devices that he had line of sight with. Tricking the cameras without causing suspicion was as easy as laying in bed and freezing their feeds. The real crazy part was watching him compress himself with the elasticity of a rubber toy so that he could fit into the vent and wriggle away. Eventually, someone might notice that the different cameras were showing his head in different positions, but it bought more than enough time for his escape. As for me, leaving the building just required a leisurely stroll to the main entrance. Normally, stepping outside was pretty rare since there was basically nothing out there, but I'd been working here long enough that most people wouldn't question my antics. My escape should only take a couple minutes of walking as long as none of the guards I passed felt unusually chatty. I don't see you come here often. Going somewhere? Yeah, I just need a breather. I don't fault you for it. You sure surprised me when you were walking around covered head to toe in blood. Sigh. I really don't need a reminder. Oh, don't be like that. We're pals, right? You can talk to me about it. I hear talking about stuff like that makes it easier to deal with. No, I just need some time alone. And as I turned to walk away, he touched my shoulder with one of his hands, which were really just tentacles covered in millions of little bug legs. To him, it was just a show of friendship, and that he was willing to talk. But to me, the gesture sent a wave of uncomfortable vibrations through my sensitive plates, sending goosebumps over my entire body. I know he didn't hold ill intentions and was just trying to be supportive, but it only cemented my resolve to leave this barren rock once and for all. I picked up my pace, causing me to startle some of the smaller guards on my trip to freedom, but there wasn't anyone else that felt like impeding me. A quick wave at the person at the front desk, and I was finally outside, being immediately greeted by the only two redeeming qualities of this planet, the constant warm wind and the permanent aurora that covered the sky. While it was nice, it didn't change the fact looking anywhere else, but up resulted in a lifeless, inhospitable rocky desert. I found Dominique leaning on a wall of the control tower waiting for me, just like we'd planned. You took your time, huh? I got held up. I'm here now, so what's the plan? The plan? Well, we can just grab a ship and leave. I already gave the boys in the command tower a good nap. Nobody's gonna stop us. The speed at which everything was proceeding was a bit freakish. Not even 10 minutes ago had Dominique first injected the idea of leaving into my head, and now I was booting up a light transport ship and doing all the checks before takeoff. It was surreal, just how much my life was changing, and how little effort it took outside of getting lucky. I'd almost lost my mind in the year I spent working here, and now I was stealing a ship with an upcoming war hero and taking him to a luxury planet at the edge of the galaxy. We were already in the air and headed for space. All I had to do was kick back, relax, and enjoy the ride. But there was still something scratching the back of my mind. Hey, Dom, this is probably being overly paranoid, but you took care of the automated defenses, right? Automated. A heavy weight seemed to be placed on my chest, making it difficult for me to breathe. This sector of the galaxy was able to remain a galactic ceasefire zone because of its overwhelming and indiscriminate automated ordnance. Everybody that has ever been to space was well aware of that fact. It was so obvious that I didn't even think about whether Dominique was aware of its existence or not. We were already in range of the cannons. If he really didn't disable them, then there would be actually nothing we could do. Dom, don't fuck with me right now. Did you or did you not? Oh shit. I could feel my head start to spin. I had to grab onto a wall to stop myself from falling over and expelling my stomach. I'm too young to die. We're supposed to live for hundreds of years before even considering something like that. And for what? So I could throw away a stable life and help this lunatic. No amount of screaming or struggling would save me. There was no magical solution that could fix my mistakes now. All I could do was close my eyes and hope that my passing would be a painless one. I opened my eyes to see Dominique, the man that had taken my trust and used it to kill me, rolling on the floor, howling with laughter. Tears were streaming from his eyes as his laughing devolved into rough bouts of delirious hysteria. He tried to get up and speak, barely forming the start of a word before collapsing again and returning to his guttural howls. I really want to strangle this guy.